Most logos are meaningless. Maybe that's a little, I don't want to say shocking, maybe it's a little upsetting perhaps to hear. As an up and coming logo designer, you might be thinking to yourself, well, the logos that I design aren't going to be meaningless. They're going to be awesome. Well, of course they're going to be awesome. But the truth is, they're going to be awesome, but they're also going to be meaningless to most people. We just finished a conversation on how cluttered and how noisy the overall marketplace is. So, what happens here, and again, we're going further and further down the rabbit hole, and keep that pen moving on your notepad there. As consumers, we filter out the unimportant to cope with this onslaught of advertising that we're bombarded with every minute of every day. People start to filter out the unimportant, the non-essential. We essentially mentally delete the noise in our daily lives that we're not interested in, and we only focus on things that matter to us. Now, companies and corporations know that it's human nature to ignore the unimportant, so they use logos, an icon, again, a symbol, a word mark, an emblem, or a mark of some kind as a shortcut for their customers. This is an important point. A shortcut to cue them off, to cue the consumers to the products that we want. We aren't looking for Coca-Cola per se. We're looking for the bottle of black liquid with the red label and the white swooshy lettering. Again, I said this in the previous exercise. We aren't reading the labels. We're looking for these beacons. We're looking for these markers or these cues in the noisy marketplace. So these logos, again, are going to tip us off or cue us in to what the product is. So let's try this for ourselves. I came up with kind of a fun exercise here. This is kind of a modern world version of sort of a fast-paced Where's Waldo here. All right, so here's a street scene for you. Now, what I'd like you to do is scanning through this street scene, can you find the Planet Hollywood logo, if you would? You see it in there? See the Planet Hollywood logo? So you just mentally deleted or visually deleted out everything else except for the Planet Hollywood logo. Interesting, isn't it? You want to try another one? Here's another street scene. See if you can find the Pepsi logo. Where's the Pepsi logo? Do you see it? Again, you're mentally deleting out everything else except for the marker, the beacon that you're looking for. Okay? I've got two more here for you. Let's keep doing this. This is fun. All right, here's another street scene, a third street scene. Could you find the guy in the red shirt standing beside the blue street booth? So interestingly, when I first showed you this photo, if you did what I did, I started scanning through all the logos and advertising towards the top of the photo. But when I asked you to find the guy in the red shirt standing by the blue street booth, your eye sunk down to street level and you mentally deleted out all of the advertising. You and I do this every single day. Interesting. All right, I've got a fourth one and a final one here. Here's our last street scene. Could you please find the Nike logo, the Nike swoosh? Quickly now, we got to move on. You've got 10 seconds. Where's the Nike swoosh? Do you see it? Is it in there? Is your eye frantically scanning through the photo looking for the Nike swoosh? Hopefully, if you're playing along here with me, I'm sorry, I'm kind of messing with you. There is no Nike logo in this photo, at least that I'm aware of. So the reason why I wanted to include this example is, again, oftentimes we're looking for a marker, looking for a beacon that isn't there. And if it isn't there, then we quickly move on. If we can't find it, we're frantically looking for it. If we can't find it, we move on. Everything else that we're scanning past is meaningless to us. All right? Now, these, of course, are just fun games here, a fun example to describe what happens to you and I in everyday life. When I rush into the store to buy a bottle of wine, for example, I'm looking for the one with the purple label and the purple grape on it. The hundreds of other choices on the shelf are completely invisible to me. It's like a high-paced game of Where's Waldo, right? I just said that. You know, I left the kids screaming in the car. The company's coming over in 40 minutes, and I still have to stop at the grocery store. I don't have time to browse. I don't have time to read labels or to bother considering any other option than the wine that we drink every single week, which again is the one with the purple grape and the white label or the purple label. All other options become essentially non-options. Isn't that interesting? Again, most people don't think about this stuff on a conscious level, which is why we're talking about it now, because we want to really understand what's going on here. So, as a result of everything that we're talking about here, there are, of course, hundreds of thousands of logos, marks, icons, and word marks in the overall mass marketplace. We know that the overall mass marketplace is a very loud, very busy space to be in. And as we've discussed, many of these logos mean absolutely nothing to most of us. And so we mentally filter them out. But here's what's interesting. If you're into art, for example, perhaps drawing or maybe painting, then you know what this logo means. Or if you're a drummer or a musician, then you know what this stands for. If you're into graphic arts, then you know what this is. For everyone else on the planet, these marks and logos are absolutely meaningless and are therefore ignored. But for someone like myself, these are all areas of interest for me. So I not only know exactly what these logos mean, but I also know to look for them when I'm out shopping and I'm ready to buy. And I also know what the brand behind the logo stands for, its values, its beliefs, and so on. So I hope all of this is making sense for you, and I hope it's really starting to click for you. So let's move on here. So some logos are widely recognized, but most logos are completely meaningless to anyone outside of that market. Okay, it's important to realize that while some logos are, let's call them household names almost, Coca-Cola, McDonald's, everybody recognizes those, right? Most logos will be completely meaningless, again, to those outside of that market. For example, do you know what this is? Well, you would if you're into snowboarding. Do you know what this is? Perhaps you've seen this when you're wandering through Lowe's or Home Depot. Do you know what this is? You wouldn't unless you're into fine scale modeling. Interesting, right? So the point still stands here. Most logos are meaningless. Doesn't mean that they're not well designed. They could be fantastically designed. That's beside the point. Most logos are meaningless.